Hello guys. So let's continue with our new project, issue tracker. Uh, so let's look at the things we're gonna do, right? So this is a full stack project. Just think of issue tracker like a tracking in the business, right? Or in your, you have a car service center maybe, right? And you just logging in some kind issue for something, right? Just think of that. Or maybe you are working on the company, right? Where you record the issue for something, okay? So there maybe have many staff, they can log in, right? And they can make a record. So id the user id, right, connected to the issue, like they have a relation, the user who create the issue, right, and record there, okay? And then when the work is complete, like you can update the status, right, also. So that is the only one thing we're going to do. Of course we're going to have login, right, because user has to log in. And then next thing is tracking the issue, right? So create issue, update, delete, whole process. We gonna build the API. I mean, first let's build it with the API, the normal API, right? What we have learned in Express.js. And then we're gonna convert that to server action, because here nowadays people just use server action, right? But we must understand how API is built in the Next.js, right? So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go up to the building API, and then we can maybe test in the Postman, right? Because you can use the API and send data, right? And it should be store data in the database, and we can check that, right? So let's do that. The roadmap, let's look at the roadmap, right? Why you need a roadmap, okay? When you start in any project, why do we need roadmap? Clarity and focus, right? That means you know each and every step what you're going to do next, right? Prioritization, help you build core functionality first, then keep update or add additional features, right? But you can first build this basic functionality, quickly, right? You can track the progress. Team communication, if you are working on a team, right? So all of you know what you are doing, okay? If you have the proper roadmap, right? You are somebody working on one functionality, somebody working on something else, right? You all track your work. Better architecture, right? Forces you to think about structure before code, right? So that is just some talk, right? Okay, but in the real world, okay, these are the things they follow, right? So issue tracker roadmap, planning and setup. So we have to install the Next.js. I forgot, right? Create a project. Okay, here. So we're gonna create project in GitHub. We're gonna clone, and then every time we build something, we're gonna commit, right? Because we have to track our progress, okay? And how we do that? GitHub, GitHub is used for tracking your change, right? So we're gonna do that first, and then we're gonna install or set up all our basically work environment, right? Not everything same time, okay? Because if you do the better auth, then it will take maybe 2 hours, right? Let's not do that. But there is that's the reason for the prioritization or progress tracking, or mainly clarity and focus, right? What you are doing next. Okay, let's look at the core and advanced feature, right? So core feature, first build these things, okay, like creating issue, viewing display issue, then update issue, then delete issue, right? At least we can do that. Next, once we're done with that, right? Oh, okay, now we have to log in, right? And login people can only create issue or update or delete, right? So we add authentication, that is advanced feature again, right? Okay, so once we finish with that authentication, we can look at assigning issue, right? I mean, there may be many users, or maybe let's think like this, right? In the car service center, there is the people like mechanics, right? So you have the mechanics, you assign the issue, okay, to the mechanics who can fix, right? And then update once done, like completed tasks, So assign issue, maybe assigned to one of the user or one of the staff, right? Something like that. Now there is the next feature like sorting. Sort the data in the ascending or maybe descending order, right? Something like that. You can do sorting, filter out, maybe filter out, let's say filter out, yeah, we're gonna filter, right? Filter something based on some keyword. Okay, you have hundreds of data now, right? Issue, and you want to display, you don't want to display all in the one page. Okay, maybe 10 or 12, 20 in each page, right? So now you build the pagination. Okay, and page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move on, right? Like that. Next is dashboard. So the dashboard are gonna display like how many issue are there. There is a status of the issue, right? Like in progress, closed. What else? Let's see, in progress, closed, maybe open, right? Open issue. When you create issue that is open, somebody working on that, you assign, then you change the status to in progress, right? And then once done, you can close it. Okay. So status change. So in the dashboard, you can display like we can build the dashboard now, right? With the number of issue, and you can display the in progress, closed, and open, right? In the graph, some kind of graph, you can add that. So just simple dashboard, right? Understand how to do all those things, right? So yeah, so these are the things we're gonna build. Okay, this whole process, right? So now setting up the development environment, you have VS Code, you install this extension, TypeScript, JavaScript, and TypeScript nightly, whatever you can add. Tailwind CSS intelligence we have already, right? So the Prisma you can add in the VS Code. So from here we're going to start our process now, right? So let's do that. In the GitHub, let's go back and create a new project, right? I will create a new here, and I will call it, maybe let's call it yes, issue, right? Issue tracker. Okay, here, right? Or maybe, yeah, BA, right? BA issue tracker, like that. Something, the name. Now public readme file, I'll just add it. Create repository. Okay, then I'm gonna clone now, right? So I just created the issue tracker folder here. Maybe I'll just add it inside this folder, right? So clone, git clone, right? Like that, and clone the repository. So I just copy what I created, right? So now I have the BA issue tracker here inside this folder. I'll just open this directly, right? So let's do that. File, open folder, and this one. So I don't have to cd to the new folder, right? Good. I'm gonna delete this because when I install nextjs, they're gonna add readme file, right? So you don't want that. Done. So let's set up our project environment, right? I'm gonna close this for now. I don't need. And yeah, so create, install nextjs with a tailwind and TypeScript. Can we do that? Yes. All yes. Okay. No here in the source, and the app router, yes. Turbo pack, yes, and no for optimization, right? Or yeah. So it will install nextjs. Then clean up your page and global CSS file, run dev environment, basically PNPM, right? Dev, and then also set up the satcn. So let's do also, right? And then we're gonna commit. That means we finish setting up our project folder, right? Okay. So I'm gonna clean now, clean the home page, delete everything here, and React arrow function, create and export. That's how I remember this key, right? And call it home page. Next, in the global CSS, I will delete from the root down, right? I don't need that because I'm going to use the satcm. Done. The next, let's install the satcm. So, I mean, we can go back to the satcm, right? Satcm, and then open the document here. And this one, okay? pnpm, copy that and add it. So it's gonna add satcm to our project. So I'll just keep it neutral, right? Or maybe zinc. Let's add a zinc. Okay, it will add now. Look at here, right? It will add custom variant themes, a root, right? Which has a root like the light mode and the dark mode variables, right? Okay, and there is some base styles you can look at. Fine, we don't have to worry about that for now. Then we can also add, maybe let's add the button, right? So that when you install any component from satcm, it will create the folder called components, and inside you will find UI folder, right, where all satcm components will be living, right? So let's add that. Okay, so now you see the leaf folder and then components. Inside you have the UI, right? Button. Okay, good to go. Now, I mean, you can use the button here, but we don't have to, right? So we're done. We finished with our basics project setup, right? You can, I mean, if you need to install any extension, you can go and install. Okay, for now I'm not going to install. So now I will commit this, right? Git add. Okay, I hope there is the env file, right? I believe dot git ignore, sorry. Yeah, it should ignore the node modules. Okay, that's important. env also, right? It's a good thing they add everything here. And git commit, git add, right? Oh, we have done the git add. Now git commit. Okay, commit dash m. The message will be project setup, right? And then I will push it, git push. So now it is going to add all these changes to my GitHub, right? You can go back and check GitHub. I mean, it's there. Okay, we don't have to worry, right? So let's going to check, and I'm just gonna look at the VA issue tracker right here, and see everything is here now added, right? And you can later you have to delete, make updates to your readme file, but for now I will leave it. So what is the next now? Next step. Let's make initial commit. We have done that. Now let's build a navbar, right? Navbar. Okay. In our navbar, we're gonna have like I'm gonna add maybe home page, like dashboard. We're gonna need. Then you're gonna display the issue, right? Display issue, and then in the display in the same page, I think we're gonna add the button like create issue. So you will move to the create page, and there you're gonna find the HTML form, right? Where you're gonna fill out the form and then submit. Then those information will be stored in your database, things like that. So here in the component we have UI folder, which is reserved for the satcm. I'm going to create the new folder called general, maybe general, or give it any name, general, right? And inside, because I'm not going to have too many components, right? So I'll just put everything here. But if you have like a lot of different things to do, right, you can separate that folder wise. Okay, let's call it nav bar dot tsx. This is just a component, right? You're gonna use this component inside your root directory, the root layout right here. So import navbar, and you're gonna run that navbar right somewhere here. So it should be, oh, not there, but above the children, right? This is all the page, but be above that one, you need a navbar. Okay, why above there? Because this will be shared between all the pages, right? You know what we can do, right? Okay, let's run this project. Okay, npm dev, right, and see if everything working fine. So I will go localhost 3000, and yeah, so you see the nav bar and you have the home page, right? I want to bring this nav bar, maybe like there is a space in how we container, right? Use container to center out. So why not we add a container called main, right? Main box. This is element, okay? Main element, right? And put everything inside here. Then what I can do is just add a class name. Give the maximum width of this box, the main max width of 7xl, and then I'm going to center horizontally. So margin x-axis auto, right? Yeah, and then also in the small device, you know, you want to add some padding, x like left and right, maybe 2 or 4, something, little bit of padding, right? So now see, but in a small device, when you know like go below, still you have space right on the left side and also on the right side. Okay, so that text is not like touching to the border, right? Not going, you know, like hiding. No, by adding some padding, it will increase the visibility, right? I mean, you can do the 4, it will add more padding, but I think 2 is enough for now. So yeah, and also we can change maybe the height, right? So h will be screen. I hope that is fine, right? Okay, let's leave it like that. Height will be 100 view height. Okay, the main box, right, is 100%. That is all. You can change the title here. You know what else we can change, right? Let's call it va issue tracker app, right? Like that, generated by create next app, track an issue, right? Issue of the workshop. Simple, you know, you can put a nice description about this project. There is limited word, right? Because these things are used for SEO, you know, the metadata, right? Which will display in the live page. Okay, so dot, it's time to build the navbar. Let's do that. Navbar, right? So we're gonna add, let's add it, nav like that. So in the nav, this is the box, right? Nav. What else we need? The logo, right? So let's call it h1, or maybe just the link tag, right? Let's add a link. That's ref. So the logo will go to the home page when you click. Let's call it maybe va issue, right? Like if you want, you can add maybe some kind of icon also. Import link tag. Good. So I mean, let's check. Yeah, you can see that, right? Let me close that there. Okay, so now we have that va issue logo there. Next thing is we need, you know, we need a box UL tag li, and maybe we add a link here, right? Let's call it home page. So href go to the home page, right? Like that. We need maybe 3 children. The first one is home, second is dashboard route, right? So let's change the title here, dashboard, and maybe issue, right? Issues like that. Okay, we're gonna have the issue page also. Issue. Yeah, I think that is all we need. Save this, and you're gonna see all here, right? So now it's time to style. Why we have two home, right? Oh, it's coming from the maybe home page. Yeah, that's the content, right? Content. Okay, fine. So let's style it nav bar, right? What we need: a flex box, item center, right? And maybe gap of 4, something like that. So it, it worked like that, right? Next, you have this ul the parent, right? And there is 3 children inside. Again, display flex, item center, and gap of maybe 4 again, or maybe, yeah, let's make it 4, right? Okay, like that. Maybe you want to give like more gap between the you know. So next, what we can do, right? Let's add the border, right? Border bottom, border, and the border, I think border dash bottom, right? Like that. Okay, and the border color will be border maybe gray. Let's make it 800. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's fine, right? I think better to have some padding in this navbar, right? So padding y-axis of 4 will be good. Okay, that looks fine. So when you click home page, it will take you to the home. I mean, this is the home page. The dashboard, it will take you to the dashboard, right? We don't have route, and issue will take you to the issue. Okay, let's make it issues, right? But issue is okay. Issues, yeah. So home page, you want to add icon maybe here, right? Some kind of icon. If you want to play around, it's okay. We can import the icon also. So we can install the Lucid React. I think p npm install Lucid React, I believe. I added this link in this library also, right? In the document here somewhere. Maybe navbar, right? Yeah. So you can see, you can import now. Let's import the import bug from Lucid React, right? And then you can use that here. Like that. Okay. So it looks something like this. It does not look good, right? So maybe we can add some class name and just do the flex, and maybe a gap of 1 or 0.5, right? Yeah, we can center, item center. We can play around. Can we make a color, right? We can change the color, like, or just increase the font size, right? Font maybe bold, you know yeah. So guys, our navbar good to go, right? We're gonna work on the next thing. Yeah, so I believe navbar is okay. What is the next step? So next thing is, right, add active link to the improve and improve the code drive principle, right? I mean, until now we have not styled any of our link. So this link don't have any kind of like interaction or any style, right? So let's add that. class name, we can say like text color, right? Color maybe zinc, text zinc, right? How much? Let's make it 500 in the normal, right? And then on hover, when somebody hover, right, you're gonna make that text zinc to be around 800. Can we do that? So now see, it looks, when you hover, it just change the color, right? Look at there, some interaction. Okay, when you have hover effect, like changing the color, right? So transition, that is transition, right? So either you make all, so if there are many transition, this will work for all, but let's make it for color because we're just changing the color. So that's it, right? So the transition color property, and there is, transition property, timing functions, and all those things for transition, right? So this is the class name, just use it, and the rest it will take care of. So now we have to copy and apply all in this, same class for all our link, right? That a good idea. Okay, so a lot of work now. Look at here. So here, issue, dashboard, and home page, right? You repeat the process here. So how are you gonna fix this issue, right? How? So we can commit, or let's commit after fixing, or let's commit this one, right? Git add and git commit -m, right? And we call it navbar basic. Okay, and git push. Once you commit, you don't have to push. You can push later also, right? But you can push it, no problem. So this is a second commit, right? Now the issue is, one thing we can improve, right? We can make our code more dry. We don't have to write the CSS 3 times, same thing, right? You don't have to do that. Next, the selected link, when you click home page or maybe dashboard, right? This must have the some kind of dark maybe color, like this is selected. How we know, right? So we have to add that. But first, let's fix our CSS here. So in order to make this dry, we have to store normally what you see, right? When you're making a nav link, you have some kind of variable, right? Where you store all your link data. So I will add ID maybe 1, then href, right? As the first one is like the home route, and the label, maybe the text or content will be home, right? Okay. And this will repeat 3 times. I have 3 children, right? For nap. So ID must change. Okay, cannot use same ID. And this will be dashboard. Here you're gonna add dashboard, right? And then we have the ID 3. Then we're gonna call it, the route will be issue, issue, like that, and let's call it issue, right? Good, that is all. So we have our data ready to go, right? And now, see, normally these things is repeating, right? So I'll just copy this one. Okay, let's copy this, or yeah, we can use that, no problem. Let's use that, and then delete the remaining. We don't need, because you don't want to repeat so many things. So we just have to call this links variable and map it, array.map. You will get each item from the array inside the callback function, right? This function. Okay, and then you just add the things you just copy right here. Now it's saying when you have map, each item must need a key, right? So this is the main item, and item dot, we have unique ID. Let's add that one and save it, right? So see, so just remember now this bracket it just added, right? This small bracket. You have link and this link, right? The only thing now to change is, I mean, you right now you just get your home page 3 times, okay? Because we have the fixed data, right? We need to update this now. So here, item dot href, right? And this will be that, what is that? It type, not label, right? Item has label. Good. Yeah. So now you have the home, issue, dashboard, and everything working fine, right? The done. Now the thing is how to add the active link, right? So that to do that, we're gonna, when you click, let's say I'm in the dashboard, I need this slash dashboard, right? I need that route. How you can get the route from the browser? Import, what was that? React. Okay, let me remember the hook. I don't remember the hook. So use path name, right? From next navigation. So this is the hook now, okay? Hook means the React function or nextjs function, right? That only used in the client side, okay? So let's import this first. Use path name from next navigation, okay? And in order to use any hook, you must make your page a client side page, right? Use client. For now, let's make it. So now const current path equal to, just run that use path name, and we can check, you know, like let's console log this current path, right? Current path, let's console log that. So now if I change the path here, let's go to issue, right? And you will see something in our, yeah, look at issue here. See that console log issue, see that? If I go to the dashboard, you see the path. Now I have this path available inside here. So now it's time to apply CSS to my link, right? I have flexbox. Okay, this one. No, not that one, right? I'm going to change here. So how we can apply like dynamic CSS inside our class name? Basically, you can delete this. You add a backtick, right? Backtick. Okay. Inside. Okay, let me just copy, or yeah, let me just copy this. We're gonna use later. So I don't have any data, right? So how you can apply backtick? Right? Put a bracket now, right? And then put a backtick. You cannot just put the backtick there, okay? And then inside the backtick, right? We're saying now I need to insert the variable, because backtick is for string, okay? But if you want to insert variable, you just add dollar symbol like this, right? And if you have current path, if the current path is equal to our item dot href, right? If they match, that means you click, you have the path, right? You just click, that means you have that current path inside this item, okay? And also you getting that from the browser, right? So what should we do in that true condition, right? If this is true, that means true. We have to add our CSS here. Okay. So in case of true, we're gonna make it like you know, you want to make it 900. Let's make it 900. Okay. Dark, right? So I'm gonna delete for now all this. else, right? Else, because we have if else, like else. Else will be text zinc in the normal condition, right? Just be like 500. That's it. Good. So when selected, it will be 900. Else normal, right? And in the hover effect, so you can add here again, right? So this is the normal here. I mean, normal CSS or normal string, So in hover, we're gonna have text to be text zinc. You can change different color if you don't like this 800. And then a transition is there, right? Transition color, right? Colors. Good. Done. So now, right now, I'm in the dashboard and you can see here the red color, right? Okay, let's change this to maybe a orange, like 900, right? See, I'm in the dashboard and you can see here. When I hover, it changes to dark, but you can see, right? This orange 900, okay? If I click home page, it will change to orange, okay? But you hover, it's still changed to that zinc 800, right? So you get the idea. For now, let's add it red. Save. Oh, you get the idea now, right? Fine. So that's the improvement for our navbar. Normally, in any component, right? When you're building navbar, even Satsia navbar you use, right? You will find this linked store somewhere, then mapping, then there will be some logic, right, behind, like dynamic logics here, So just remember that, right? Just the high level concept. Okay, I understand this. When you use any other component, right? That is all you have to understand. So let's commit now. We're done. So git add and git commit dash m, right? And we call it like the, what was that? The maybe what we call this. Let's see. We can call it maybe current path, right? Improve navbar, right? Navbar. Okay, that's fine. And git push. So we're done with our basic roadmap things. I mean, let's continue with our next step. Creating issue now, right? So set up Postgres SQL database in Neon Tech. So we have to go to the Neon Tech login, right? So yeah, so I'm going to create a new project. Let's see. I don't know how many I'm allowed, right? How many left there? A 7 project out of 10. So I still have 3 to go, right? Fine. I'm going to delete something later. So here, VA issue, right? Tracker. That's the database name. You can select any regions, create, and then you're going to connect, right? Click connect and copy this snippet. Okay. That is all. So I will store that, right, somewhere in the readme file. Let's go back. I will delete everything. Has issue tracker. I'll just store here for now. I'll come back later. Close the navbar and close this also, right? So done with that part. Setting up Prisma, right? I mean, we have the database. Let's set up the Prisma. So you can see I added all the, like installation name here, right? Things to install, okay? So So pnpm, right? Add development environment Prisma. It will add Prisma, right, to our development environment. Next is generate the or install the client, right? pnpm add @ Prisma client. So Prisma client is basically the one who uh, get all information about schema, the connection URLs, all the variables, right, in our env file, and then establish connection to the database. Then it handles all the operation, right? Create, read, update, delete, whatever communication from Prisma to the database and back from database to our code, right, or our project. Okay, so Prisma is the middleman. We call it uh, client, right? Client. We're gonna handle all those things. Prisma client. Okay, so you have to install that. And the next will be, so we have to generate now, right? The generate, once we have that, right now we don't have Prisma folder. Okay, you install the Prisma and you install the Prisma client, initialize it, right? So Prisma DLX, okay, so pnpm, right? pnpm DLX Prisma init, right? It will initialize the Prisma in our project. Means it's gonna generate all the necessary thing, right? And that is the Prisma folder and the file for adding the, I mean, basically there is a connection URLs, everything added, right, to the database. Output for the Prisma client is inside this folder. So leave, inside leave folder, you're gonna get this generated and the Prisma, right? So you have to import from here later. Okay, done. So yeah, I mean, we can migrate now, right? We don't have any schema, so let's create a schema, right? So in our model, okay, that is called model, right? So the first will be ID, right? That will be string. We call it ID, and you have to add a default value. Okay, UUID is the library used for generating the unique ID. The next will be title of the issue, right? Okay, the string description, uh, description, 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 right? And the next will be what? Title, description. Normally we store title, description, right? Status. The status we don't have yet. What is status, right? So there is a enum. We can call it status like that. And then in the beginning, right, it's gonna have a default value which we don't have yet. So let's create this enum, right? Enum is like a variables inside the database, right? Which we call status. And then normally it's in the capital letter, in progress and close, right? Like that. So once you have this enum, right, and you're calling that status here, see, we have string data type, right? So it's like a data type, okay? Our predefined data type. It has some value. So now I can get, if I click O, right, open, okay? That is by default. So I don't have to add this. When I create any issue, right, this will be automatic. This ID will be automatic. I just gonna send title and description. Always when you have issue, right, must have the created at and updated at, right, the date time. Okay, so created at will be date time, and then will be, I think the default value is now, right? That's the function which will generate the current date when we create issue. And updated at date time, this is the schema, right? Basically at updated at, that's it. Good. So save and it will format. It looks fine. So we're done with our schema also. Now we can go and run the generate migrate, right? Let's run that. So pnpm dlx, pnpm. You know why we add this dlx, right? See, when you install something, either you're gonna add, like sometimes you see pnpm add or pnpm install, right? When you installing like library from outside, but you're just generating locally, doing something locally, right? Then dlx, okay? That's how I understand. Prisma generate. Yeah. So it will generate the Prisma client, right? If I go back here and check inside the leave, you see the generated folder, right? And inside you're gonna find Prisma, okay? Here output. That's how it output. And next, now you have the environment variable. You know, we're gonna add our URL for the database. So let's add this, because once you run this Prisma migrate dev, it's gonna create the SQL command, right? For creating for everything, you know, for your issue tracker, right? Right now we only have one model, so it will generate SQL syntax for that model and push that table, right, to the database. So in the env, here we're gonna add that. Done. So let's generate now, right? Let's generate this. I'm gonna say enpm elx prisma migrate dev. So it's gonna ask me maybe the migration name, right? Sometimes you see dash dash name and then give the name, right? Maybe auth or some. This is like issue. I'll just give it issue, you know, when it's gonna ask. So just wait. It's still doing work. So we almost finished with the setting up Prisma, right? So we're just gonna commit now, set up Prisma, right? But I want to finish this waiting. Come on, it's slow, you know. Sometimes, yeah. Let's give the name, right? So I'll call it issue of this migration, right? And it's gonna create the migration file and also push the data, right, to the database. Data means the table, okay, the table, right? The model generates the table. Good to go, right? I mean, you can look at here, you know, the in the migration, Prisma migration, right? See, this is the migration file and SQL. Here is the SQL, okay? So create table, issue, ID, title, description. This is SQL command now, right? So this command is used behind the scene to create, basically to deal with our issue table, right, in the database. So done now. So let's commit this. Git add and git commit, right? Commit dash m, and I will say add Prisma and connect to database, right? DB and git push. Now the last one for today, we're gonna create the API, right, for the issue, creating issue. We have the table ready to go. Now you can add API. So how we create API in our next app? Just go here, API folder, and then we're gonna add the next folder called issue, right? And then inside the issue, you're gonna add the file called route.ts. Okay, that's how you. So the, in the postman, right, your API will be something like this, the API link, right? Let's say you want to create the issue now, right? Man, okay, sign in by asking so many things. When you don't open for a long time, it's just gonna. So I mean, for now I'll just add one here, right? Blank collection. Can change the name, but inside, like we're gonna add maybe the new. What is that, right? Let's see. Let's call it issue tracker, and then you know you're gonna have the post, get, post, all those things, right? So what is that? I'm gonna close all this, right? Lot. For now, okay. Let's leave it. Cancel. Cancel. Just add one new, and inside, because you are posting, right? So http:// localhost, and your uh, port is 3000, right? And see how we have created API. So API, right, slash issue, not auth, but issue, right? And we are posting, okay, post. So now in the body, we're gonna send the data, right? That will be raw, I believe. Yeah, JSON, right? JSON file, and inside here it will be like a title. You're gonna send something, right? And then maybe description. So just imagine this is your form, right? And sending the data. Good. That's what we are doing, right? So yeah, we have to write API for this. We don't have the API yet. We just have the blank file, right? Localhost 3000 / API / issue. Let's do that. Import, right? Import next. So this is the next API request. I'm not sure. Oh, they have changed now. Next API request. Let's see next. I didn't check, right? What is the, okay, let's next request. Remember we had request and response, but in the TypeScript you have to have the object, right? Type checking for that. So you have next request and next response. Okay, response like that from the next server, right? And then you're gonna say export, right? Export async function, and the function name will be post now, right? Post. See, that's how you create API. And inside, I mean, inside here, right? The params and types. So your params, you can make it call it request, right? Because post, you're gonna get the data that is request, and the, see, it will ask the type, right? Request is declared, but its value never used. You must define the type object, that is next request. That's it. So now everything looks fine. Here, how you get the data, right, from the request? Const, let's call it the body, from the body, right? Await request dot JSON. That's it. So now your body gonna have the data. So you will receive the uh, title and the description here, right? But next thing is how you're gonna verify if someone is just sending the blank title and blank description, or maybe something, right? Something else. So for that we use our validation friend called Jod, right? Let's install npm install Jod, okay? And you're gonna import that, right? Oh, I'm using npm, guys, sorry, that's why it's taking so long time. npm install, I forgot. Okay, so yeah, so should not be like conflicting or everywhere, import g, right? G from dot, like that. Good. And now we can create the const, let's call it something like a, just give the name like issue schema, right? Like that. Schema equal to g dot, what was that? G dot object, right? You're gonna add the object inside here. So you have how many object? You just have title, right? Let me check, right, how to add that. So go back to our document. So here, no. Oh, I don't have this schema, right? Okay, fine. Let's create, does not matter. So, the title, right, equal to, you have to call the G dot, and should be, this will be string, right? String, okay. The title will be string, and then you can add like dot minimum length, minimum mean, right? Mean will be, let's say at least you need maybe title, you need maybe 4 5 character, right? 5 character, and then you're gonna return the message, or you just write a message here, right? Like a minimum 5 character is required, right? Required, like that. Okay, and the maximum length also dot max, you can add max function here and just call it maybe how much, like 20, cannot be more than 50, right? Title, and then you're gonna add the message title should not be more than 50 character, like that. Okay, now same thing for the description, you can just copy this, right? Add here, let's make a description. This name must match with our, the, right, must match with our, so minimum 5 character, maximum maybe like 200 or something like that, 300 character, good. Or you can leave it, even you can leave the max, right? Just leave it the max. So good, done. That is all right. So we have the schema now, right? How are we going to use that to validate our body? Okay, so const validation, right? Variable equal to uh, g dot, I think, what is that? Parse, what was that, right? Z dot something, I mean, there is so many function, right? I don't remember. Anyone remember that? G dot parse status or something like that. G dot, uh, okay, I forgot, right? I don't remember. G, because we have to pass, we have to, okay, so let's call it schema, issue schema, right? Issue schema dot safe parse, I believe. Yeah. So schema dot safe parse, and you're gonna give the data, right? That is our body. Okay, good to go. We have that. So now if I have, you see that title and description right here. Okay, good. So it will check now, and we can now, if we can say, if there is no validation, if there is some validation dot if there is, see that you get data, error, and success, right? It returns these things. You have that success data from this validation, or error or success. If there is no success, then we can maybe just return, right? Return what? Next response. Okay, we have next response dot JSON, and you can send the message here, right? Like uh, let's add, I think 402, something like that, right? And then the message, or okay, let's add message here, right? So invalid data, something like that, and return the status, right? Also just pass some string, some object, does not matter, right? 402, like that. Good. So that is the check. If no success, there is no success, then that means we have to return it from here. No need to do anything, right? Else what we're going to do now? So we have to call our Prisma now, right? Import, and we don't have the Prisma client here, so that means in the leave, right? We're gonna add, let's add a Prisma.ts file, and we can go to our Postgres Prisma, right? Okay, Prisma nextjs, maybe best practices, right? Just copy that guide, this one. Just copy that and put it here, right? So we're returning. Okay, we have to import this from the raw, from different place. Dot slash generated slash Prisma. Okay, done. And we have this export Prisma. Yeah, so we're just getting this Prisma now, right? That is what it exporting. Okay, so we can go back now. Here we can import Prisma, right? From the @ slash maybe leave slash Prisma, this Prisma file, right? And then we're going to use that. So this is async function, right? So we can say const, maybe it will get us back like data, right? After you add data to the database. So we set Prisma dot issue, right? Issue dot create. Okay, and then inside you're gonna add data, and you pass your data, right? That is title. So title will be coming from, I mean, let's get it from body. I mean, we have in the validation also, right? I believe data, but let's get it from body dot title, right? And then description. What is this here? Then we're gonna have description, right? Body dot description. Done. And then we have, it will return. Okay, once it create this in the database, right? Title and description. Once it add, it's gonna return the result here. Okay, the data, it will give us back the whatever it added, right? So what we can do is just return that, return response. Okay, next response, right? Dot JSON, and here you can just return that data and also add the status, right? To be like 201, something like that. Yeah. So done. That is all we need, the API, right? So we added this schema here. Later we can learn how to separate in a separate file, right? But this is how we write basically the API in the nextjs. So it's time to test now, right? Let's do that quickly. Test. So here, if I send this right now empty, right? Maybe let's send that and see if we get something. Internal server error, right? Okay, I mean, not sure. Let's send it again. See, invalid data, right? Look at here. What we get back here, invalid data. Look at this message. Okay, and the status is 402, right? Okay, next thing is we're gonna add the title. So this is first issue, right? And then Description should be, okay, this is first issue and must be solved by tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. Okay, good. Now send this. And here, so action create argument, right? There is a data title and all those model issue. So we get something back here, but okay, look like something happened, right? Created. Okay, action create. Okay, fine. So let's go back and check in our database, right? So pnpm dlx Prisma, right? And we can call it Prisma Studio, studio, right? To get the URL or the lives database in the browser, right? Click on the issue, and we must have one issue here now. Oh, okay. We did not, it did not work, right? Look like it's not there. So it did not add. Let's see if there is some error, right? Okay, what is saying now? Yeah, there is some issue. Expected request.json. Okay, see, something went wrong here. Syntax expected double quote prior, property name in JSON, right? Hmm. So this to a line await request.json. Yeah, request.json, right? Body, and then we validate that. So there is some issue, right, with this API. Okay, let's keep it. I'm not sure why it gives issue. We have to figure that out. But I mean, you get the idea, right? We're gonna fix this. You guys can try up to here. I'm sure you're gonna figure out, right? Once you try, okay, just try to solve this schema, not schema, but let's say this API, right? And use the postman to add the data to your database, right? Try up to that point, okay? You can Google it, search, do whatever, right? Tomorrow we're gonna fix, and then we're gonna continue to the next step, right? Like once we create, like once our API working, then we have to create now form, right? We're gonna create add form. We do some form validation in the client side, and then yeah, and then we're gonna use the form to add data to the database, right? So that will be the first thing to do. And then after that, we're gonna work on the next step of like displaying the issue, right? Okay, guys. So yeah, I will stop here for now. Thank you.